What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Robert Vazquez. Wanted to give you guys a quick update. Let me know if you guys find that guy. Just kidding. I'm really excited about this. What we're going to be doing here, okay, is what I'm going to show you on a single granular level. But in order for me to do that, I got to go macro so you guys can understand. Does that make sense? All right. Does anyone in here know a GC? Okay. Anybody? A few people? Can anyone here find a GC? Okay. I'm sure that other guy who bought those properties in Oklahoma wish he would have brought one out there, but all right, so this is, it says fast, it's not really fast, all right, because it's gonna take some time. So this is my Robert Vazquez free rental home portfolio builder hack. I named it this morning. Put a lot of thought behind that. All right, so this is my macro level overview of what you need to do to build a free rental portfolio, all right? Very simple, and we're gonna go through these steps and we're gonna break it all down. Number one, you gotta find a buildable lot that meets your buy box criteria, okay? Your buy box will change depending on where you are in whatever country, whatever part of the country you're at, okay? These numbers will change inherently where you are, but the numbers are still the same. Buy a lot for X, you know your build cost is Y, you can sell it for Z, okay? So again, step one, you gotta locate a lot that meets your buy box criteria. Step two, you have plans drawn for your house, architectural plans for the house that you're going to build, okay? Remember, if you're partnering with a GC, you don't need to have all the technical know-how. The GC will do that. Whatever you're missing in terms of your education or what you don't know, you're going to hire someone that you do know, right? I don't know shit about medicine. My knee hurts, I'm going to go to the doctor, right? Step three, you're gonna go through the appropriate permitting. Step four, you're gonna secure your construction loan. We're averaging about 70% on the after repair value. Again, there's lenders that do LTC versus LTV, which is loan to cost versus loan to value. We're gonna keep it simple. And banks will lend approximately 70% of the after repair value for new construction. If you need help with that, contact me, because I own a mortgage company. And we're gonna show you how the numbers work. Take pictures of this, guys, if you guys want. All right, so in this example, my buy box, I'm targeting lots that are $40,000, okay? If I see the area, again, I'm not gonna build an 1,800 square foot house if everything's 5,000 square feet, right? And nor am I gonna build an 1,800 square foot house if everything in the area is 1,000 square feet, right? So we're gonna target an area where we can find a lot for 40,000. We're gonna build an 1,800 square foot house at $90 per square foot as an example, which gives me a build cost of $162,000. My total all-in cost is $202,000, which is $40,000 lot plus $162,000 to build. Gives me an ARV of $300,000. Anyone here from Florida? Yeah. Are you guys seeing these numbers at all? Yeah. No? I can tell you DeBerry, Orange City, DeLand, Sanford, Polk County. There's many, many, many places you can get a lot for $40,000 that gives you these ARVs. By the way, real quick. Yes. Yeah, but we're going to get into that here in a second. Hold on, because there's a lot of fluctuations with market pricing, with lumber, and I'll tell you a story about that here in a moment. Where was I going with that? Hold on. ARV 300. 70%. Say again? 70%. 70%, no. It'll come back to me, I believe. Well, $40,000 lot, so we have an all-in cost of $202,000, all right, an ARV of $300,000. The lender will finance 70% of that number. What's that number? What's 70% of $300,000? 210? Is that right? It is. So lender will finance $210,000. So if your cost is $162,000, you can essentially get paid to build a house. Why? Because you're partnering with the GC. Remember, their cost is their cost, not your cost. So if you partner with a GC, the number that you're purporting to the bank that they're going to charge you includes their profit. But if you're their partner, you get to benefit from that partnership. Follow me? Does that make sense? Am I losing anybody? All right. So if we have a $210,000 loan amount less $162,000 cost to build equals $48,000 in gross profit, right? That the builder would make. Less your $40,000 cost of the lot leaves $8,000, which will essentially be chewed up in closing costs anyhow. So you're virtually out of pocket nothing. The lender will finance 70% ARV, which means you have $210,000 and your cost is $162,000. Did I just, there we go. All right, part deuce, Bigelow. All right, part two, the exit loan. The exit loan, you secure a long-term rental loan. Again, this is, you already received the CO, you went through the construction process, you got the CO, now you have to repay back the construction lender. You guys following me? Now what do? You take out part two loan. This is the same thing that's being done in multifamily. You secure a loan, right, with bridge financing, you renovate the property, you improve the value, you take out a new loan, you cash out. Am I right? This is the same thing on a minor scale, except this way you can potentially do it with virtually nothing out of your pocket. So the new loan at 75% of the $300,000 is 75% of the ARV, is $225,000 loan amount. The $225,000 loan amount pays off the construction loan of $210,000, which leaves $15,000 left over for closing costs and a little bit of cash back. Go to Eddie V's for dinner. Nice place, by the way. Am I losing you guys? Is this making any sense? Are any wheels kind of turning here? Pretty freaking creative what you can think of, right? All right, so you have a brand new house, which equals a projected lower maintenance, higher profit, and less stress. Do we all want to deal with less stress? I sure as hell can use a hell of a lot of less stress. Now, because I'm doing this on a much larger scale, I have a lot of stress because I got a lot of building going on. All right, so you have a $300,000 property, leverage at 75%, which means your net worth just increased $75,000. Why? That's a 25% of equity that still remains in the property. Make sense? You're getting a new loan at 75%, so you just created $75,000 in value, in equity, helping build your net worth. The tenant pays down the debt and you keep the cash flow. What does that look like? $225,000 loan amount at a 4% rate gives you a $1,074 principal and interest payment plus an estimated $333 taxes and insurance. Gives you a debt service of $1,407. Your monthly income is $1,950 less your debt service of $1,407. Can you guys see that number? Can you see it? $542 in cash flow you just created on a single property that didn't cost you anything, and you put $75,000 in value in your pocket. Guys, there's a shit ton of different ways to make money. This is just a creative way to think outside the box. How can I create wealth if I don't have that much money to play with? This is an experiment that's working out very well. On a 5-year hold, you have $32,000 in projected cash flow. $225,000 loan amount, less $21,500 principal reduction on a 5-year hold at a 4% mortgage. The balance that you're going to pay down in 5 years is $21,500, which leaves you a $203,500 balance. Now you add all the numbers cumulatively, you have $32,000 in cash flow, plus appreciation. We're factoring in 8% appreciation over a 5-year hold, which in Florida that's happening. So we're projecting a value of $441,000 minus your $203,500 balance. That's $269,500 per door in projected profit. Does that sound kind of interesting to you guys? You guys can essentially create wealth if you do these for 5-year holds. Now, that may not seem really appealing to a lot of people, but if there's a way that you can do this with zero out of pocket and add this kind of product line to your business, and you do 10 of these over a 10-year period, you just added $2.69 million in profit. That doesn't sound interesting to you guys? Have you guys ever heard of something like this? That's why it's a Robert Vazquez, whatever personal hack that I just created here, ladies and gentlemen. I'm glad I had a mic. I thought I was going to have something because I wanted to drop it and walk out of the room because this is gold here. That's pretty much it, guys. I wanted to share with you that there's a lot of ways to make money, okay, in real estate. And I think that I've said this expression a lot, all right? When the market tanked and I'm sitting there scratching my head and everyone's getting out of the business, I said this many times, necessity stimulates creativity, okay? If you need to eat, you're going to figure out a way to eat, okay? Real estate, a lot of people get so focused and so laser-centered that this is how I make money, that they forget that there's an opportunity to make money over here, and an opportunity to make money over here, and an opportunity to make money over here. This is a way that you guys have probably heard. Number one, probably said I never want to do new construction. I'm sure you guys have a GC. Most GCs are great at swinging hammers. I'm not. I'm a general contractor. I'm a builder. I'm not that great at it. I know where my strengths are. I know I can point a finger like nobody else can. You do this, and you do this, and you do this. I understand construction management, okay? I do that very well. I can lay tile. I can frame a wall. I'm a money guy. I don't want to do that shit. I started my construction company by accident, to be honest with you. I did a lot of REO properties, and a bank said we need someone to take care of a murder house in Ocala. First of all, I went to the murder house, and the first thing I did, I started playing CSI investigator. The struggle happened over here. He was shot over there, and it was bad. I made $8,000 on that house. By the end of that first year, I made over $1 million doing renovations for banks. Next year, I did even more, and the third year, they said, you need to be a general contractor in order for us to give you more business. I already had construction experience in the past, and I spent the next 2 years focusing full-time. I made so much money with the banks, I said, you know what, I'm just going to coast. I also, fortunately, bought 160, 180 rental homes in that time period. Correction, they weren't all rental homes. They were portfolios of properties that, you talk about making mistakes. This wasn't a mistake. I traded a $60,000 commission from a bank for 60 properties. Tell me that's not a come up. Then when you go to the properties and you keep driving past a shitty street, trying to find your house, and you realize that the city demolished it, and you actually owe the city $45,000 in demolition fees, you're like, damn, this is not worth it. But it turned out that like 4 of those properties, I made $1 million selling 4 of them because they were in a luxury lot, luxury community in Palm Harbor, and we just cleaned up. So essentially my cost basis was 0. If I owed money, I owed money. If I didn't, I didn't. That's honestly another reason why we started our nonprofit organization, Veterans United Housing Coalition, because we transitioned the properties into our nonprofit, took them off the tax rolls, negotiated with the city, and then gave those properties to veterans. So our losses became our wins and a tax write-off. Any questions on any of this stuff, guys? What's up?
Hey, that veteran, is that something you were working on?
Say again?
On that veteran house, is that the subdivision you've been working on for a while?
No, I'm still, I'm working on that. No, that's totally different. That's a for-profit business I'm doing, but that's part of our affordable housing initiative. Okay, so what I'm doing with that's a passion project. I grew up in Section 8 housing. Okay, and I know that Section 8 housing, a lot of people think Section 8 bad, poor, terrible. Not necessarily. There's a lot of people that are good, hardworking people. They don't have the means to afford, a proper housing. And the reality is, if you look at our cost of living right now, our cost of living has exponentially gone up, where our pay hasn't gone up. It's not commensurate with the cost of living, right? Before, if you look at the value of a dollar 100 years ago, or the cost of housing, the average income used to be like $9,350 per year, and the average cost of a home was $23,500. Now people are making $50,000 a year, and the house is $300,000. It doesn't make any sense, right? So when you're having two income families, or 3 income families, or 4, because a lot of people are having generational kind of households, or whatever the case is, there's not suitable housing that for people that need it. What I'm doing is a passion project, and it's also kind of foolish that a lot of people aren't doing it, in my opinion, because it's the greatest need in the country. So if you have something that's the greatest need in the country, you can make money. Okay, the problem is a lot of people, here's the reality. The cost of lumber is the cost of lumber, right? And an electrician is gonna want to be paid the same amount of money to do a 6,000 square foot house than he's gonna charge you for a 1,500 square foot house. People are gonna want to make the same amount of money because they've earned the right to do so, and I can't take that away from them, right? I can't say discount my house. Obviously the materials are gonna cost less, but it's still same. Lumber is lumber, electrical is electrical, PVC is PVC, right? The price of everything has gone up through the board. So to talk about that project and the fluctuations in market prices, my downtown Orlando projects, you guys can drive by it, lock the door. I lost $90,000 or I was losing $90,000 in my lumber prices alone, because the lumber went up that high. Then I had a 7-month delay because of my trusses. You want to talk about stress? Now the market's starting to stabilize and everything's kind of getting back to its normal production cycle. The cost is still up across the board, not nearly as high as it was. The cost of resin's gone up, the cost of everything's gone up, okay? But in that delay, okay, in that delay where I lost 90,000, I was flipping out, going, this is affordable, now it's not affordable. Market started to stabilize. That 7-month delay with my trusses actually stabilized lumber prices and went from a $90,000 PO to not ordering it to the prices dropped and I was down only 30,000. So I'm going, great, I'm only losing 30,000. It's $7,500 per door, not a problem. Guess what happened at the same time that lumber prices went up? So did real estate. So my $7,500 per door loss, I actually increased the value per door about 30,000. So whew, stress is gone. But that ride sucked. That ride sucked because I'm going, shit, how do I factor in all my costs? How do I do this, right? So that's why I said if you do something at a deep enough discount, it'll warrant the investment, right? You're mitigating your risk. The way I look at it is for every new house that I build, I'm making a minimum of $100,000, right? So you better believe I'm carrying these things out as much as I can. So if I got to lose $25,000 or $30,000 on a house, I'm still going to make $75,000. Am I bitching or complaining? Hell yeah. Because that's the way I am, but I'm still making money, right? So the biggest takeaway that I want to, that I want you guys to walk away with this, number one is learn from people that are doing this, learn from their mistakes, okay? Don't walk up here or don't sit over there and watch, hear a guy come over here and talk and go, shit, I would never do that. You're in this room so you don't do that, okay? And you got to be really appreciative, in my opinion, for people that share their failures, Like I said, I bought a portfolio of properties without even looking at them, and the houses weren't even there. I have other ones where most of them that I bought, I literally have to get out of the car like Dog the Bounty Hunter and kick down doors, which I don't mind doing. But I'm ex-military, I'm kind of crazy. But I enjoy doing that kind of stuff, all right? This is the biggest thing I want you guys to take away from this, if nothing else. If you guys are here for multifamily is ultimately the end goal for a lot of people. But this is just an extra opportunity for you guys to potentially put something like this in place to build a rental portfolio and build wealth. Yes, ma'am.
We're in Orlando.
So are we.
A lot of communities that are being built to rent.
Built to rent.
We're seeing a lot of that popping up.
Uh-huh.
Can you use this model on a bigger scale? You buy a bigger lot, you get the same kind of loan and get into something like that? Because this is great for one house, but I'd love to do it for 100.
Well, you can do this for 100. Number one, there's 2 ways of doing that. This, again, is one house. If it works, right, what do? Rinse, repeat. And if you have
Just saying do it all at once.
You can do it all at once. That's where I said the land entitlements come into play. But if you're even going to go through that, it's not even worth doing it because, for example, and I'll give you a quick little crash course on how to do this. And I don't want to knock down anyone's courses or whatever the case is because I'm going to give you the skinny way, the easy way to do this. How we're doing it, we find a lot of land, let's say it's 50 acres, okay, it meets our criteria, I put a contract on it. I don't pay for the property. I say the contract is contingent upon my entitlement. So I only lock up the contract with a little bit of money. More often than not, I have a step-up clause where it says that, let's say after 60 days, I'll put up more money. After 90 days, part of it goes hard. The reason why I do that is during that due diligence period, I'm doing my Bugs and Bunny report, I'm doing my surveys, I'm doing everything I have to do to make sure that the property would qualify for what I want to do, my wetlands, everything, okay? So now that I see if it meets the preliminary standards for a community and it meets the county's requirements, I go, shit, I can plot this thing out and I can create 95 homes here. You're going to make a lot more money a lot faster teeing that up for national builders and to cut you a fat check for you doing all that work. So it's not worth doing that. You can do that, take the profits from that, and put fuel on the fire on this guy. If that makes sense. Any other questions?
Are you taking that all the way through the IDEM where all the infrastructure, water, sewer, everything is approved, or just the plotting itself?
All the way through. All the way through.
And can you were going to expound on the $90 a square foot?
Right, so the $90 per square foot is your partner's cost, right? So you got to sit down to your partner's cost and say, okay, listen, we're going to be partners here. And you can structure these JV opportunities however you want. Like I said, more often than not, contractors aren't business guys. They're good at what they do. If you give them an opportunity and say, listen, instead of you charging me X amount of dollars, I'm going to put the debt under my name. I'm going to finance this, right? You can even bring in other people's money, right? We partner here, and you can give them 50%, 25%. You can give them a sliver. You can structure even if you don't have the money to buy the lot up front, okay? Because some lenders, you can buy it up front, and they'll give you 50% of that lot cost back up, which you can even get creative there. Any wholesalers in this room? Anyone? You know how many times I've wholesaled myself a property? Partner, you wholesale me this property, you bought it for 10, sell it to me for 30, the bank's gonna give me 50% of my lot price, I make $5,000 to close on a lot. Creative financing, guys. Anytime someone gives you a term sheet, look at it, then you gotta take a bigger step back and you gotta look at it from this angle and go, I can do this. Just gotta peel back the layers, all right? A lot of people are just looking at the one-dimensional. This is what the term sheet is. I don't have $55,000 or I don't have $200,000 to do this. Are you sure? How about before you present it, work the numbers backwards and reverse engineer the deal? Any other questions?
Are you loaning those construction loans?
Yes, I am.
So I go find some $40,000 lot?
Dude, I'm right down the street from you. Come on down. And you live in Sanford, right? Sanford's blowing up. Sanford is on fire right now. The cool part is that while generally speaking you don't have competition, generally the reality is, like DR is one of the biggest players in the game right now. So a lot of big builders, I want to jump into the build to rent community for a second, but a lot of big builders are now competing with us, but not on the scale because they don't really want to do that, but they are getting into what's called infill communities, infill lots. That's the game that we're in. We're buying infill lots in established communities, okay? I'm sure you guys, when you're driving around for dollars, you see house, you probably just pass by the lot and go, no, next. There's a lot less competition doing this than everyone else trying to find a discount on a single family home. And this gives you a lot more profit, potentially. And I've done a flip in Dr. Phillips that took me damn near a year. Made 174 grand on it. It was also a headache of a deal. But it took me almost a year. I could build a house faster than that. Now, build to rent communities, those are popping up all over the country, okay? Why? We have significant shortage of housing across the board. I know you know why, because we're in the same groups. Does anyone else know why? Does anyone else think the market's gonna crash anytime soon? No? You do? Why?
Because of I believe it already hit the peak.
Okay.
And interest rates are so low, it has to balance out.
I agree with that statement, but do you know why I think that it's not going to correct itself anytime soon?
Because we've been at a building deficit for 15 years.
What's that?
We've been at a building deficit since the crash.
Thank you very much. Since the last market crash, skilled labor has left the workforce. So since the last market crash, we've had a 300,000 home per year deficiency for the last 15 years. I believe that's 4.2 million homes short. 1.2 million homes of that is right here in Florida. So because of the fact that this is the first time in history that we have a lack of supply, that's what I think is going to push off any kind of market correction. So in other words, builders are being very smart. Instead of building to sell, they're building to own or building to rent, because for every one house that I build, and my model was on a conservative 8%, and 8% some aggressive to some people to some degree, but if you look at pricing over the last 2 years where it's been going, it's been climbing. So if, based on some formulas, if I hold on to a single family home for 3.3 years, you know what that happens? You know what that means for me? For every one house I build, it'll be like I built 2. That's why these builders are doing build to rent. It makes sense. Not only are they doubling their equity in the property, they're also receiving cash flow in the interim. Kind of a genius model. Now, I'd like to say that I came up with a model. I really would like to think that, because I created my affordable housing fund, but I started this thing 2 years ago, the financial modeling. The financial modeling took me literally 2 years putting this whole thing together, because it went from a build to sell fund to a build to rent fund with a hybrid. We're going to sell off a portion of them for affordable housing at below market rate pricing. Okay, we're going to partner with the counties to do down payment assistance to achieve our goal, okay, of affordable housing. This other 70, we're going to put it into a rental program, still affordable housing, okay? And the beautiful part about my fund, again, is a fail-safe should the market correct itself. Should the market correct itself and should the market crash, guess what happens when market crashes? Do rents rise or do they lower? Market, exactly. Now, if you look at the last market crash, I moved to Orlando from Miami because Orlando was a lot more affordable. You got a lot bigger of a house for a lot less money. It was a lot cheaper to rent. Since the last market correction, rents went through the roof in Orlando. Orlando is one of the most expensive places to live in terms of rental markets now. Okay? So rents haven't gone down, they've gone up. So if the market crashes, which I hope it does, I as a landlord make a lot, mucho more dinero, all right? Which is good, all right? So, and again, as a fail-safe, lovely Section 8. We're targeting areas where my debt service is significantly lower than what Section 8 pays for that 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house. So I have literally insulated myself from market fluctuations. Market crashes, I still make money. Market does well, I make money. I'm making money. Yes, sir.
How many times have you done this process successfully? Have you actually had some failures?
Have I had failures?
With this one?
No, I haven't had any failures because I'm a builder. The biggest failure that I've had is COVID. That's been my biggest failure is delay. When I do something, I am a hard charger, I'm mission oriented, I want things to get done. When I have to stop because trusses, I don't like to wait. And you have national builders who are taking precedence over smaller builders and I gotta wait 7 months. Heidi, how many times have you called the building companies and asked them for the hell my lumber's at? Window delays. That's been my biggest failure. It's not been my ability to build. It's not been my ability to sell. Okay, my biggest failure right now has been external market influences. Okay, rising lumber prices, material delays. Apparently, resin costs more, therefore so does PVC. Bullshit. Whatever, it is what it is. My point is, those have been my variables. And again, as those prices have gone up, so has inflation, right? So, do you guys all have a savings account? I'm curious. Everyone have a savings? No one has got savings? Well, I hope it's because your money's invested.
Yes.
Okay, good, good. All right. Because if you have money in a savings account, you're losing money because inflation, right. $1 today will not give you the same purchasing power tomorrow. So invest it in real estate or other investments that hedge against the risk of inflation. Any other investments or questions, ladies and gentlemen? Yes, sir.
So are you doing most of this with infill or are you doing development?
Both. Our land entitlement divisions, our land entitlements, we have a division for that. All we're doing is the land entitlement and teeing it up for the builder.
Would you mind explaining land entitlement for me?
Yes, land entitlement is the process of acquiring raw land, okay, and doing the paperwork, okay, the paperwork to create the subdivision. You're creating the roads on paper, not physically. You're creating the sewer systems. You're doing everything, lift stations. If it needs lift stations, that gets very, very, very expensive, by the way. You're factoring a lot of different things in order to create a subdivision, okay? Once that subdivision is created and the county approves the project, it's multiple hearings, multiple meetings, public hearings, the whole nine, okay? All you do at that point, once you have the preliminary approvals, okay, contact DR, contact one of these big builders, okay? If you don't know, contact me. We can JV, and we'll do it. The average cost right now for me to go through that process, if I take it from A to Z, is give or take on the scope and the size. So if it's like a 5-acre deal, 10-acre deal, God bless you, I wouldn't touch it because it costs me the same to do a 50-acre than it does a 100-acre property. Engineering costs are relatively the same, so it's going to be around 200 grand. But that 200 grand could be $4 or $5 million.
You're doing that on paper, then you take it to the bank.
Take it to the builder.
Okay.
And the builder goes, wow, I'm a builder, I want to go vertical. You just gave me a whole subdivision that I can just start going vertical on? Which they're going to do the horizontal work. I mean, I'm not putting sewers or anything like that. You can make a lot more money if you're doing that. You can make a lot more money per lot, but it's not worth doing it. I don't want to sit there and create the roads, put the infrastructure in, because I can get, let's say if I can get 25K per lot and my development cost is 15K per lot, I can potentially get 60. Why go through an extra year and a half's worth of trouble for that? I just teed it up. I make $25,000 a lot times 150 lots.
And you buying the land?
Buying the land, but buying the land upon entitlement. So think about this, guys. If I lock up a piece of land for $500,000, and I dump $200,000, if I'm going to dump that kind of money, this thing's going to get approved, okay? I don't close. I don't pay them their $500,000 until I'm selling it to the builder.
Ah, so, okay.
So it's like essentially like a double close.
It's an option.
It's an option. Pretty fucking smart.
Yeah.
If I do say so myself.
And then you're partnering with some of these builders to keep with the lots.
No. So I'm a builder, so I'm this scenario right here, this scenario, I am my own partner in these type of transactions. So that's why I said, does anyone here know a builder? Does anyone here can partner with a builder? It doesn't have to be GC, it can be a residential building contractor, or however your state laws apply, okay? Here in Florida, you can be a residential building contractor, can slap up homes all day long. You don't need to go to the GC. And again, most people aren't investment driven, they're construction driven. They're can I get a contract? If you come to them as a JV opportunity and you give them the ability to, hey, do you even own any property, man? How would you like to start building some homes and we can partner together and you can build homes and you can build a rental portfolio. We split it 50-50, I'll give you 25%. What's your profit margin? Let's break down your real profit margin. So if you're going to charge me, you're going to make X amount of dollars building me a house, how about I give you that in equity plus an extra 20%? There's a myriad of different opportunities or different ways for you to negotiate with your money partners, with your building contractors to do this. This is just a creative way to build a rental portfolio. Any other questions? You guys all with me? Does this make sense? Yeah. Oh, no, I'm just kidding. Thank you guys.